It's time for Real Talk with Jackie. She'll talk politics, education, entertainment, and a whole lot more. It's time for Real Talk with Jackie, Hollywood Mims.
Hi, and welcome to Real Talk. Today's topic is moving the needle. I am overjoyed to have the Honorable Councilwoman Blegay here from District 6, right here in gorgeous Prince George's. So Walla, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on this show. It is such an honor to share how we're moving the needle in Prince George's County. So thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome. So before we delve into our conversation about moving the needle, allow us to know, who is Walla Blegay?
Walla is an advocate. I've been an advocate for a long time. Actually, as I sit on this show, you know, I had a show, Chat with the Lawyer, and that was one of my advocacies. I've always been a voice for the people. And with Chat with the Lawyer, I started that because residents didn't know their rights. They wanted to know who they needed to do, who they needed to talk to, and we brought lawyers in the community and said, here is the reasons, here are the things to help you. That's the same thing I'm doing as a council member. We're bringing the resources to the people. We're meeting people where they are.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
And that brings me to my next question, Councilwoman. You've been a very, very strong voice for people-driven development in Prince George's County. So I must ask you, can you tell us about your vision for economic development in District 6 and around the county?
Awesome. Let me just say, this is another place where we're moving the needle. When I first came in, everyone knows that I campaigned on live, work, and play in Prince George's County. We have a beautiful community. No one has the story that Prince George's County has. Mostly African-American people of color community, but yet and still many people say that they don't have the amenities. Well, now is the time. We're building the Blue Line Corridor, downtown Largo, the corridor off Lotsford Road. We're trying to have beautiful things that people can see. We have art that we've just put there. We're trying to have lovely buildings, condos. We just cut the ribbon at Opal, and we're trying to have businesses all up and down that corridor because we can share that too. We're also looking at Six Flags. That's been the big topic. What's going to happen next? Well, we can dream right now. It's 500 acres. We want another National Harbor, but better. And I would say National Harbor is only 250 acres, so we're talking about double that. We can bring a whole new world to Prince George's County. So there's so much to talk about. It's not even enough time to talk about what we can do to make sure that people can live, work, and play and rewrite the narrative of Prince George's County.
I love it. And that was going to be my question. And it's on the heart and the minds of the people. You know, what are we doing with that space where Six Flags is? So I want you to just chat with us a little bit more about what's going on there. What are some of the opportunities that will be created there? Maybe entertainment and community growth. Just what's going on there? I know, just like many others, they are wondering, like I am, what's going to fill that huge space?
Well, what people need to know is that the land is privately owned. So it's owned by Six Flags. Six Flags did put it on the market. In fact, the bidding has been this month. They closed the bidding. They are going to negotiate it, and it is under NDA with the top bidder. So we're kind of waiting for that process. However, one thing that I haven't had with other development has been the ability to control the zoning. The zoning for that property is park amusement. It was an overlaying zone. The actual zone is agricultural. So when people say I'm scared about housing, I'm just telling them now we're not focused on housing there. We really want a center, an entertainment center. I've had people bringing a resort with a conference, and a lot of, you know, we need more places to get together to have conferences, and we have National Harbor. We can do more. We can have more than that. So we're looking at that. Some people have brought film studio idea, you know, think about what you have, a gathering concert venue. People have brought that. We've had people bring up sports. There's a whole industry in sports, so bringing that. So we're getting all types of ideas, but what we are making it clear to everyone that wants to develop there, this would not be no small housing shopping center. We've got enough of that. We've already got that here. We want you to be creative, bring something that will bring people down exit 15 to come and visit that place. So I was a little devastated when I first heard about Six Flags, especially a lot of people find it as a staple in the community.
Absolutely.
However, the loss brings opportunity, so I'm being positive about this. This could be a new chapter written for Prince George's County, and I do want to give a shout out to working with our new county executive, Aisha Braveboy. When I met with her, she had the same vision that I had, because that was important to me. I told her we really do not want to make this, no, we're not talking about condos, houses, and it's not zoned for that. Even people talk about data centers. We have a task force that we're going to address data centers. This isn't the place. We want destination, and that's the focus.
And I love that. And we need that in the county. So I'm so appreciative of you and our new county executive, Aisha Braveboy. I'm just excited about what our next is for Prince George's County.
And we want people to know we are listening. A lot of people reached out to my office. We're taking it all in. We have a list of what people want. We're just waiting to see who buys it. And that's important for us. We can try to plan all these things, but we need to know who buys it. But no matter who buys it, I still control the zoning. So they still have to come to the council to get the okay to move forward with anything. And that is our leverage. In other places, people don't understand it usually is already zoned to whatever it is. So when people come and they build, that can do that. If it's by right and it's zoned for the by right, they can do it. But this one has a very low zoning. And in order for them to do anything that is not a park amusement entertainment, they have to come to my office for the change.
And I'm so excited about that. Absolutely, controlling the narrative. And that's what we need to do.
Right.
Yes,
right.
absolutely. We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back after these messages.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Hi, and welcome back to Real Talk. I've been sitting here with Councilwoman Blegay, and we have been talking about how she has been moving the needle.
All right.
And we've been excited about that, which
been
brings
so
me
great.
to my next question, Councilwoman. Food access. I want to talk to you about that because I know that's a major part of your agenda. So I want you to tell me a little bit about Food as Medicine Initiative. Can we talk about that?
I'm excited to talk about
Okay.
it because we had a great meeting on Monday. And I just want to go back before we go into where we started. I recognize I'm pre-diabetic. I
Okay.
recognize that I am living in a place where I have all of these, we call it the food swamp, where you have all of these fast food options everywhere. And a lot of us are trying to change the way we eat and realize when you have a busy life like we do, a lot of times people just want to run to the store, get some things, but then you have food swamps everywhere that are not helping you. When I first came in my first year, I was vice chair and I took on an initiative of Healthy Restaurants Bill. And that was what we do that. And we had a disagreement with the administration, but it was a great idea because what it did was incentivize bringing healthier restaurants to the county. So we have all these great salad places, all of these great places, and what people would talk about, you go to other jurisdictions and you have all of these great healthy options that have delicious food everywhere. And then if you come to the county, you see the McDonald's, the Chick-fil-A, you know, so we're trying to change that. That bill actually passed, but they didn't move forward with the implementation. But now Food as Medicine comes. And one of the reasons why is people did not know this. Did you know that that during the Biden administration, there was a program within Medicare called Food as Medicine where you can use your Medicaid to pay for fresh food. And what I'm finding out as I'm looking into my health and trying to adjust the way I eat is that a lot of times they say that the food that you eat can solve a lot of your health problems. The number one killer in Prince George's County is not gun violence. It is heart disease. And so we realize, and we have an ER task force, and I'm talk about that later, where emergency room task force, where we will focus on the long emergency room wait times. And what we found is that I came in thinking it was about nurse-patient ratio. Shout out to my nurses. I represented nurses for 10 years at the DC Nurses Association. So that's what I thought the issue was. But the true issue was that about a fourth of the people who come to emergency room are dealing with chronic illness that are non-emergencies. But it really is connected to how we eat. So Food is Medicine is a program that we're developing it on the county level. So we're trying to be innovative and create it where we connect our residents to healthy options, to our farmers markets, our farmers. Do you realize how many farmers we have in the county? People don't even know. Right. I'm learning how many farmers we have. So we have a lot of food. We have people growing food that are healthy for us. So what can the health department do to connect those together? Yes. Our Food is Medicine stakeholders meeting was amazing because we had doctors in the room, farmers in the room. We had holistic advisors in a room. We had the health department leaders, including the new leader at the health department, Dr. Jacqueline Somerville, and some others that we all got in a room, and everyone talked about how we have access to food, but is it really helping us? In addition to Food is Medicine of talking about the healthy part, there's a big food insecurity thing that's happening. We are giving more and more food as a county overall. Why? Because they've been cutting off SNAP. There's a lot of cuts of programs on a federal level, cut, that provided access to food. And a lot of our people, this inflation. The reality is that many of our residents are living on the edge and they don't have that much money to buy food, and $100 that could get a cart of food can only buy you maybe a handful of food. Yes. So people are looking for food. They're hungry. So this is an opportunity. And so we brought everyone in the room. We came up with the concept. We even talk about funding. The funding programs I used to teach people how to eat, those are cut. So we're adding that in there. So this is a good time to do it. At the time that we've actually got the cut at the federal level, it's time to Prince George's County to take it in our own hands. So I just want to let you all know, September 4th at 1:30, we're having the hearing before the Health and Human Service and Public Safety Committee, which I chair, but we will be having those come and testify on the Food is Medicine legislation, CB 67, that we introduced a couple months ago.
That's outstanding. So excited to hear that.
Yeah.
Because food insecurity saddens my heart.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that. And I mean, many of us can't imagine, just being hungry.
And that's our community. We're hungry, but also we realize if people are hungry, should we be sending them to bring unhealthy things in their bodies because it's quick? We even have people living in food deserts where the nearest store has all types of processed foods as an option. So what we're trying to do is teach people how to eat fruits, eat vegetables, and find out how this onion or this avocado can be helpful in your health journey.
So that leads me to my next question.
Awesome.
You have spoken often about bringing quality grocery and retail options to communities like Westphalia, just for an example. Why is access to these types of businesses so important to residents, and what progress has been made?
So I want to start by this. This is a priority for me. Reason why is because this goes to what we talked about before. Live, work, and play in your community. Yes. The reality is that Prince George's County has the most beautiful homes. Like, I drive around my district, even when I was door knocking, I door knocked on over 10,000 doors in my district. And I said there was not one day that I knocked on a door that I did not say, I want to live in this community, right? Because we have such beautiful communities. So we have people that can afford. We're looking at people in Westphalia that average income is $175,000. Their homes are worth between $500 and $1 million. Or even more if you look at Woodmore. But yet and still they can't get a quality grocer. And that the issue we have is what we don't want is to have our residents consider leaving. Yes. Because you don't want them to say, well, I can go to Virginia and I can get a Whole Foods. I can go to DC, I can get this. Like, we want them to feel satisfied with everything in Prince George's County. And for some parts of our county, they're not satisfied because they want to get healthier options with groceries. They want to get high-end grocers, and they can afford it. So what we said is that why do we have to beg?
Yes.
And when I met with developers, I said, well, what's going on? Why can't we get a Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, all of these things? And they said, well, they simply have said that the algorithm that they have doesn't bring them to Prince George's County. Now, we have two things that's happened. One thing is that I met with the county executive, we want a team that's going to be aggressive in trying to get that. And Westphalia is the focus for me, it's my district, but it's also a practice of an area that does have the higher income.
Yes.
So we shouldn't have to fight. And to be honest, the developer has gotten a lot of interest, and we had some meetings. I am very excited about what they might announce. We're kind of waiting right now, but they're meeting with some high-end grocers to try to bring something fresh and new, because I don't want my residents having to say, I got to stop by when I'm going to work in Virginia, stop by the Whole Foods in Virginia to buy stuff to come home. No, we want them to do that. That's tax dollars that we as a county need and want. In addition, we did pass a resolution to bring beer and wine grocery stores. That's another issue that we're trying to focus on, because some of these places, there's such a small margin of profits with grocery stores, so bringing beer and wine in increase their profits. And if you see, a lot of the places in Virginia and even other parts of Maryland and DC have wine and beer and grocery stores. And the grocers of the liquor stores don't necessarily bring the quality that we want. So we're trying to get beer and wine in grocery stores, and we are being blocked by the state. So we put a resolution for it, we passed it, and we're going to Annapolis next year and say, give us an opportunity. It brings quality to our community.
And we need that, exactly.
We need that. And
quality.
Quality. And in addition to this, we're also having to deal with some of the food desert areas that we're trying to look. So we're looking at grocery stores. I know my colleague, our Vice Chair, Councilmember Orietta, is looking at trying to bring maybe a county-owned grocery store to the county. But we do have some areas, I know near my area, near Addison Road Metro Station, we have an area that is a food desert and does require residents to travel to Largo, which if you don't have a car, if you're not very mobile, then it is basically you're stuck, and some people have to use Instacart or other things to get groceries, or have to go to a convenience store that might not have healthier options. So we want to actually address that in addition to addressing high-end grocers in certain areas. So we got work to do. We got to move that needle.
Move the needle. And you're doing just that, you know, and it takes a team. And I'm just loving what I'm seeing. I'm loving this new team, I can tell you.
I am too.
But on another note, and on another high note, September is African Heritage Month.
Hey.
And you are the first African on the Prince George's County Council.
Yes, well, it's actually three of us. So it's three daughters, and we keep saying three daughters of African descent. And there's Councilwoman Juanica Fisher and Crystal Orietta. And we all came in at the same time. Actually, it's this beautiful article in the Washington Post that highlights us.
So it's three. Okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
How historic is that?
Yeah. So it's amazing because we've had a robust African community growing. Maryland has the 5th largest African community of African immigrants in the United States, 5th largest. And Prince George's County is at the top for the state. Nearly a good percentage of our businesses are run by African immigrants, but yet and still they haven't been necessarily included in the circles for the county, the stakeholders, and we're trying to change that. And I want to give a shout out to our Director of Veterans Affairs, George O., who is not only a proud African immigrant, but he also is a part of the team in the county. And that's what we want to do, elevate those that are actually there making a difference, because African community is a part of the community, and we want them to feel encouraged and involved. So coming September 12th, we are having African Cultural Night, 2nd annual, and we're honoring many of the community leaders who are African, and we're doing that. It was designated by Governor Moore as the African Heritage Month, along with Hispanic Heritage Month that month. And so we're going to do some things to honor our African community. We are going to have dance. We're going to have amazing food. You know, we have great food. Yes. Who doesn't love jollof rice?
Oh, I love jollof rice.
And then we can have our African wear, which is so popular today. But it is a way to celebrate African heritage, and also make sure that we recognize the leaders who are really part of moving the county forward. They're moving the needle forward. When we look at Director George with Veteran Affairs, he's moving the needle forward. So we have those that are doing those things to make a difference, and we want to shout them out. And I mean, I give a shout out to Chris Osuji, who we honored last year, and now he's one of the highest officials in the county for a DCAO under County Executive Aisha Bravo, and I want to give her a shout out for recognizing the African community here. But we are robust here, we're working, and we care. And I would say that I want people to know, for the immigrant community, that's a beautiful thing about Prince George's County. It's like you have immigrant communities where you can experience every various culture from Caribbean. Look, we're in August, it's Caribbean Heritage Month. We can experience our Caribbean heritage. We can experience our Hispanics heritage, and then we can experience the African heritage. I mean, for me, you know, when I was young, my parents, when they first came here, my dad is from Liberia, and there was a Liberian Civil War, and immigrants were coming, and people were coming, and refugees were coming in, and that's how I got my start. Because I wouldn't say my start, I was a kid, I was a baby, but we would go to the DC Council to advocate for all of the refugees coming in, and we used to meet with Mayor Barry, all of those things, and I was a little girl being toted down the hallway. But you know what? I don't think that ever left my mind, because when I got to college at University of Maryland, I started off wanting to be a doctor, and I knew I was going to be a doctor. But then, actually, God spoke to me, and I wanted to get in politics. And I believe that it had a lot to do with being toted down that hallway with all the advocates on behalf of the African community to say, make sure our refugees are not left on the street. If they come here, we want to make sure that they have something. And that was my first advocacy, and I was, 4 years old?
Yeah, wow. Well, I'm excited for the African community, because it's time. It's time. It's overdue. It's overdue. But you know, God makes no mistakes with time. Of course. And it is your time, and I'm excited about it.
Awesome.
With that said, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back after these messages.
Jason, let's go see your room.
No, that's not right. How is it? Is it good?
Hi, and welcome back to Real Talk. Today, we are talking about moving the needle. Let's talk about one more thing that the needle is moving well in, and that's healthcare. It has been a big focus for you, from addressing long emergency room waiting time to expanding access to primary care. Talk about that a bit.
I was chair of the Board of Health for the council twice now, and this is my second time, and I'm actually chair of Health and Human Services. And what I would say is that I came in with some certain assumptions, and as I mentioned before, the number one killer is heart disease. Yes. So health should be a focus of ours, and COVID opened us up to see that. The long emergency room wait times actually was the biggest eye opener, because when I came in, I obviously represent we're Capital Region, and that was a huge issue. They had these long wait times, people waiting 12, 14 hours, and they said, what's going on? And I said, it's nurse-patient ratio, because I represented nurses for 10 years, and that was a big concern. But when I got there was a big issue, elephant in the room, primary care. Right now, our ratio is 1 for every 2,000 residents till we have 1 physician. But on the state, for every 1,000 residents, they have 1 physician. For Montgomery County, which has the same amount, almost the same number as us, 1 million residents, For every 740 residents, they have one physician. There is more physicians, we're almost double physicians in Montgomery County than it is in Prince George's. In Baltimore, they have 14 hospitals and they only have 500,000 residents. For Prince George's, we have almost 1 million residents and we only have 5 hospitals. We have a deficit of primary care. Most people are leaving the county for their care. And what's happening is that from the state, we got to make a decision. So what we see is the result is in our emergency rooms. And we focus on that. But another problem that we address is mental health. We have a huge issue with mental health. A lot of people do need support that we don't have, and we don't necessarily have enough clinicians to really address it. So we've got to raise that. That's another shout out to our Veteran Affairs Director, George O, because that's one of the first things that I talked about working on for our veterans community. Mental health is a huge issue, but it's also a huge issue for our kids. It's a huge issue overall, and we have to come in and really prioritize. We need more places for those that are suffering from mental health to go. They can call 988, but where do they go? And so we're focused on that. And then the next thing is maternal health. We have a high rate of concerns of maternal health, from making sure that our pregnant women have enough support. A lot of our pregnant women are not taking care of themselves and having infant mortality issues, which we have a high number in the county. And a lot of them are having babies, are forced to have their babies outside of the county. So we're not even able to monitor them. So we have so much work to do when it comes to health. And the issue is money. And that's what we're working on for the Board of Health. How do we come up with the money to address all of these issues? And more, there's to be continued.
Continue to move the needle on that.
Yes.
That's
And I wish I
needed.
had better news on that. There's so many issues. We need to look for resolutions.
Okay. And I know you're looking for them, and I know you will find them.
Definitely. We are talking now to some really great organizations that you know of about coming to the county and bringing primary care. So more to come.
More to come.
All right.
All right. So before we wrap it up, there's another topic I'd like to explore with you. And because you're doing so much, I have to ask you, as a standard question for my guests, what is your why? Why do you do what you do?
Because Prince George's has promise. Because Prince George's is an area that you have African American excellence. Is a place where you see people of color thriving. So we need to finish that story. So we don't want to say people are thriving in Prince George's County, but we don't have a good school system. No. We don't want to say people are thriving in Prince George's County, but we don't have a healthcare system to support them. No. We don't want to say that they're thriving, but we don't have amenities to support them despite the fact that they're making money. Prince George's County has a unique story. It is not your typical. It is a place that it went from a rural area to a wealthy African American community, one of the wealthiest African communities in the country. Nobody can write that story. So what we will do for the why is tell people why this is the best story. And we just need to finish it. And finishing it is making sure that our businesses are able to get a seat at the table, that our healthcare system is the best in the country, that our education system is the best in the country, that we are healthy and living long lives, that nobody can give us that tag of, oh, they like chicken, watermelon. No. We're going against all the narratives, and we're writing our own story.
I love it. Councilwoman Blegay, thank you so much for your time from the top of my heart.
Awesome. Yeah.
You are a powerful woman, and I pray that God continues to bless you to do all that you're doing, plus.
I appreciate you.
You're truly a blessing.
And you're a blessing to us to have you in the county and to have you as one of our voices. We do appreciate you. You're getting the word out, and that's the biggest part. The biggest challenge we have is getting the word out to people of what we're doing.
Yes, and I will continue to get the word out, and I really, really thank George O, because he's here making sure the word is getting out, and I do appreciate him and the friendship that we've developed to continue to get the word out. So thank you very kindly. With that said, to my viewing audience, Remember, give yourself grace, stand in your truth, and God will do the rest. Thank you for joining me on Real Talk, and God bless.